You're with Julian on the brown note, and this isn't a piece at all. This is a question. Why did YouTube take down my video about Jeffrey Epstein? A few weeks ago, I posted a video called Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein and the Elephant in the Room. The content of said video was how the Ghislaine Maxwell trial is a furphy. It isn't the real story. The real story is that Epstein had links to the intelligence communities in America and Israel since the early 80s. So who in those intelligence communities was facilitating what he did? Nothing in the article was anything other than reading out stuff that's been in the news or on Wikipedia. It wasn't polemical. It wasn't particularly angry. It wasn't even angry. It was a very dry piece. And YouTube have removed it for, unfortunately, we think it violates our harassment, threats and cyberbullying policy. How do you harass, threaten or cyberbully a dead man? Ghislaine Maxwell is currently in jail on child sex trafficking charges, but she featured in about 5% of the piece. Almost the entire piece was about Jeffrey Epstein, his life, and how the connections he'd made. Done in an analytical and dry way. How can I harass, threaten, or cyberbully a dead person? It says content containing targeted harassment, including but not limited to stalking, threats, bullying, intimidation, unwanted sexualization, sexually degrading language. None of this was in my piece. And you literally cannot defame or bully a dead person. You can't libel them. You can't do anything because they're dead. Not only is he dead, he's the world's most famous abuser of children. So how did my piece cross any of these boundaries? YouTube additionally content including egregious insults based on personal attributes, such as physical traits. How have I crossed these boundaries with that piece? I asked them, and they, in less time than the video lasted, came back reaffirming their decision based on harassment, threats, and cyberbullying. This is utterly bizarre. I asked them, I said, look, can you at least point to anything in the piece which crosses any of the boundaries that you said I've crossed? Because I genuinely don't know. And the other thing is, YouTube don't watch every video on YouTube. There's a million a day that go up. I'm a nobody. Who complained? Who complained on behalf of Jeffrey Epstein? Who is out there? Who does this guy know? Someone has complained to YouTube about my portrayal of Jeffrey Epstein, even though it is simply relaying very well established facts that were in no way insulting beyond the fact that what he did was insulting to himself. And the crux of it was that the story isn't Ghislaine Maxwell's trafficking criminality, which she's been convicted of. It was all about Jeffrey and the fact that he had long-standing, well-cultivated relationships with the intelligence communities and military contractors, and that these people were probably facilitating what he did, and that is the real story. And also, who were they blackmailing, and what did that... Virtually no one else got mentioned in the piece, so who complained? And what boundary did I cross? I genuinely want to know. If anyone out there can point me in a direction where I can get a better appraisal of my video, because I genuinely don't know.